Welcome to Blog Talk Radio and the Brother J Show. This is Brother Malik, and I'm filling in for Brother J this evening. The brother should be joining us a little later on this evening. We have another great show for you tonight. Again, this will be part 2 of ATUN-RE Addresses to People. ATUN-RE will be telling his story and how it ties into Baba's case and Baba's eventual release. That's Dr. Malachi's New York. Now, family, you need to hear this in its entirety in order to get what we call the big picture. Okay, so it will all begin to make sense real soon. So sit back and listen with an open heart and an open mind. And right now we're waiting for the brother to call in. Brother ATUN-RE, how you doing?
Yes, I'm fine. And yourself?
I'm doing great, brother.
Are we on the air now?
Yes, we are.
Good evening, family. Again, it's my pleasure to speak to you. I thank the Most High for the opportunity, and I thank you all for listening. I want you all to know that these may be trying times, but indeed they are meaningful. Without question, we all miss Baba. And if we have absolutely nothing else in common, we have that. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I would hope that many of you feel the same way. Love is so powerful. It moves things. It makes you feel and act a particular way that most can't explain. Many of you out there are in relationships and have little to no clue as to who you really should be relating to while in your relationship, that is. And that is to yourself. That's how a relationship in these days and times can function. But I'm not going to speak much on that. What I will do is say this. That I've been told by Baba himself to tell you all the story so that you all will know. And then from there, you will have what you need to question me on a level that will make sense. Tonight, I will complete the story in terms of how it is I came to be and my memory had been totally restored. And I'll be also explaining to you all, to the best of my ability, just how it is Baba's case does indeed tie into mine, and how we will bring Baba home, ultimately. I don't know if there's going to be enough time in one show to cover everything, because there's so very much to say. But whatever doesn't get said today will get said tomorrow until we have completed what it is that needs to be done. And so with that, I'll just start. Many of you, I'm not sure, know, but I'm sure there are many of you who do know that early on, when the OSOICE introduced themselves, by the way, the OSOICE stands for Original Sacred Order, Inner Circle, Empire of the Most High. And when the OSOICE introduced themselves to you, and I came and first started to present to you the information that many of you in this nation have read and explored. I had posted a letter that was sent to me, a 4-page letter written by Baba himself, where in it early on, in the very beginning of the letter, he says quite clearly, I'm happy to see that you have sat with those other masters. And I'm especially happy to see that you have sat with my Native American Indian brother. Well, let me explain. About, I don't know, I think it might have been 1996. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and at that time I was part of the Atlanta tab. Mind you, I had been sent there by Baba, as also in the past I had been sent to Baltimore. I was part of the Baltimore tab, and that's where I first caught my first conviction. I was sentenced to 25 years, and I wasn't supposed to come home until 2012. After having signed a written plea agreement to only receive no less than 4, no more than 7. That occurred February 20th, 1989, and is part of public record. And that's one of the reasons why Baba wrote the book called Let's Set the Record Straight, because every bit of this ties in. And what I want you all to do, my brothers and sisters, is to just listen and make a judgment call on your own. As I continue to speak and do what it was I was told to do. Okay, now, like I said, that was February 20th, 1989. However, we're talking about when it started in terms of my memory being restored and the journey that I was taking on by which I sat with those other masters. Let me explain how that occurred. In 1997, at that time, or really from 95 to 97, I was part of the Atlanta tab on Edgewood Avenue. Initially, Mueen and Milka were in charge. Baba had asked me, after speaking to him on the phone, well, what tab did I want to, where did I want to go? And I said, well, I would like to go to the Atlanta tab. And he said, well, I want you to write this number down. And he gave me a number, and he said, you call there, and you asked to speak to a brother by the name of Mueen and or Milka, who was his wife. And tell them that I said to open the doors and to allow you in upon your arrival. In fact, tell them that I said to send you the money that you need so that you could come. Mind you, I had not filled out an application. Everybody knows that in order to be a part of this mission, you would have to fill out an application by which you render 4 passport photos, and you were told to take a physical examination, and the application itself. Without it, I know of no one else in the mission that has ever been able to live with us without having complied to that rule. But I myself didn't have to, not on this occasion, and that's the truth. And it can be verified. All you have to do is call Milka. If I'm not mistaken, she's in Athens, Georgia. She knows. Even though Mueen is dead, and mind you, I want you to know something, his death wasn't a natural thing. He was murdered by the Knights of Templar, who are alchemical assassins, which I'll be talking more about as we move forward. Now, I got there, I arrived, and they did as Baba had asked. I got clearance to come to the land, and ultimately went, and at the time, Solomon's Temple hadn't been totally built at that time. And Baba used to come out and speak when you would go to, when you would place your book orders. As a member of the family, you would have to first have clearance to get on the land. And on Wednesdays, we would go, and oftentimes Baba would come out front, to the gate and speak. Short while after being there, I met a sister who her and I became, for lack of a better way to put it, an item. Her name was Kalika. And Kalika and I then became husband and wife, by which she blessed me with a beautiful baby boy. Words cannot describe to you how much I loved them too. I, for one time in this life, can honestly say that I was happy. And what took place is as such. There came a time where one day my mate came to me and she said, would you mind if I take our son to see my mother? I said, quite certainly. That's his grandmother. I think the two should bond. And in so much as me having responded in this way, she did as she had requested. She called later on that evening and then said to me, would you mind if Kareem, that's my son, can stay for the weekend? Because my mother would like to share his company a little further. I said, quite certainly. I think it's nice that the two of them be together. And she said, plus that will free me up and you and I will have some free time. I said, well, no problem. little did I know I would never see my son again. Her mother is a music school teacher in Atlanta, Georgia, and our story is written into the scriptures, and any of you can see. He plays is a reincarnate who in another life was called Nergal Shahrazad. And the scriptures are posted inside a manuscript that I wrote that is called The Book. The story is identical to what it is I have lived in this life. The grandmother takes the child. The mother then leaves shortly thereafter, to which I never see my child again until at a later time the child is restored, because Nergal Shahrazad and Nergal are father and son. Now, like I said, she took the child to her mother's house, and as a result, I never saw my child again. Her father's name is Lawrence Weaver. He is the head of the Atlanta Boys Choir. Beautiful being. Him and I spoke. And for lack of a better way to put it, he himself was thrown as to what would be the reason. It's like, I don't know if any of you understand what a whipping from the Most High will do, but indeed, it is quite serious. You know, like your grandmother would say, you know, go on down there, boy, and get me one of them switches off the tree. While she sit to the porch. I remember me walking down the block to get one, pulling the leaves off, coming back to the porch and swinging it, hearing the wind blow, knowing that indeed, with each strike, I would feel pain. Well, I knew it had a switch. And let me tell you how a whipping from the Most High goes. And trust me, I don't think any of you would want to experience it. To know what it's like is to picture everything you love dearly, all those things that mean the most. See them in your mind's eye, then close your eyes and open them. And at that minute, realize that they are gone for absolutely what appears to be no reason. Well, I had done some things that were not right. I was supposed to be specific time. I was supposed to have been in a specific place. And in this, I had missed by participating in things that I had no business, is what the first elder and or master whom I sat with then told me. And what it was is this, and I met this sister. This sister claimed that she was going to Morris Brown College, studying to earn a degree. I met her in a place called Atlanta, the Underground in Atlanta. And it was quite significant how it occurred, because, and may the Most High be my witness, every word I'm about to say is true. I was at a telephone in a place called Mix. It's a very, very nice restaurant. And at that time, we were selling certain things called tone dollars. Certain ones of us who were members of the tab, I need not explain what tone dollars were, because, you know, that's not a necessity at this time. Well, either way, I used to go and mix, and I was standing at the phone booth using the phone. And I turned around and I saw a sister walking towards me. And I heard in my mind, very clearly, that will be your next wife. And ultimately, she went into the bathroom. I tried to ignore because in a real way, what I used to hear in my head at first, I used to think I was bugging. But indeed, as I lived on, I came to know that indeed I was not. See, the bathroom door then swung open, and she was in a mirror with another mirror to her back. And I'm looking at her face through the reflection of the mirror that was to her back. And then I heard a voice say, she will be the next mother of she will be the mother of your next child. And I swear to you all, may the Most High be my witness, when the sister came out, I approached her. And my words were as such. Excuse me, sister, I don't mean no harm. But something just told me, I just heard that you would be my next wife. I know I don't know you. I know it sounds absurd. And I was told that you would have my next child. She said, brother, you crazy. I said, no, I'm very serious. And she could see that I was not, that I was visibly shook. She said, that's absurd. I said, well, why do you say that? Anything's possible. And she said, no, because I want you to know I have a man. In fact, I'm waiting on him right now. I said, well, do you mind if I wait with you? And maybe we can just talk a minute or two. You know what I mean? I mean no harm. And I'll be extremely respectful. The sister said, well, why not? He'll be here quite shortly. We can sit down and we can talk. And we sat down and we got to talking. And the next thing I know, she tells me, I asked her, I said, well, what do you do? What are you into? She said, well, I go to school and I'm a dancer. I said, well, what type of dance? Are you in the modern dance, ballet? She said, no, I'm an exotic dancer. I dance in a strip club on Stewart Avenue. I said, what? And that was the very last thing that I wanted to hear. The reason being was because there was times while in the Atlanta tab that the brothers came to me and they said, yo, brother, you want to go out? And I'm like, where we going? They said, well, we going to strip club. I said, y'all got to be crazy. I said, no, nobody will never know. All you have to do is take off the tabernacle paraphernalia and they won't be able to identify us. And I went that night and I saw some things that indeed I knew were not right. I saw our brothers patronizing me. They took me into a place where to be perfectly honest with you all, quite small, with almost 200 naked women walking around. And I sat there and I had money, but I couldn't see myself giving the money that I was earning away for something of that nature. While our other brothers, I watched them at the stage throwing dollar bills to the different ladies of the night, or whatever you want to call them. And this had taken place prior to me meeting this sister. And ultimately, what then occurred is this. When I met the sister and she told me that she was an exotic dancer, to be perfectly frank with you, I was quite pissed. I didn't feel comfortable with it. I didn't like it. I looked at the entire activity as if it was wrong. My soul was telling me, this is not right. But, you can't be judgmental. And in that, I continued to be nice, and we spoke. We then started to talk in terms of the scripture. I said, do you know there's a level of information that the powers that be have fought for centuries to keep you from finding out? She said, what are you referring to? I said, well, do you have any idea that your story is written in a way by which it is clear and can be clearly understood? She said, no, I did not. I said, well, let me show you something. And I pulled out the book and turned to Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. And I'm sure you all know. Know of a certainty that thy seed shall be taken to a land and made strangers in a land and made to serve this land for 400 years. And then the dialogue opened. And I started to speak, and the brother never came. I said, well, look, she kept looking at her watch. I'm like, what, do you think he's a little late? She said, no, he's a lot late. I said, well, do you like ice cream? She said, yes, I do. I said, well, we used to get these peanut butter shakes at a Dairy Queen right across there in underground where we were sitting. And these peanut butter shakes, I was quite, I liked very much, in so much that we used to drink them in the Ansar community. High in protein. All of the old heads, they know. In 685, all those brothers in 685, they remember the peanut butter shakes, and I know they know what I mean. Any of you brothers that are out there listening to me, I know y'all remember. Well, we went and we sat down, and I bought two and gave her one. What's up?
Hold on, let me turn for 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm looking for this show on the board here. I don't see it now. And my computer, like, in order to log into the show as a listener on the internet, my computer. Yeah, but the thing is that maybe no one is hearing you via the computer. I'm supposed to be able to log in on the. Right.
Hear something in a minute, then the brother will continue to do what he can to fix it so that we can render it and get this thing done. Now, Malik, what I'd like you to do is just continue to look at your chat board. Are you looking at your monitor?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what do you see? Do you see anything at all? Anybody in the chat room?
They're saying they can't really hear.
But can you hear me at all? Do I need to speak louder?
No, I'm saying on the telephone I can hear you, but I don't think you can be heard via the internet.
What are they saying in the chat room?
They're saying they can't hear you.
Okay, what you want to do is you want to tap in and say that you're going to type them a message and let them know that you're new on the switchboard and you're doing what you can, and we're going to try to make the adjustment, okay?
Right.
So please be patient.
Yeah, basically the computer.
Ask if they hear anything at all.
No, they cannot.
Okay, well, we got to make the adjustment. And where's Jay?
Just hold on. Hold on.
How many people in the chat rooms, Malik?
Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, family, what I'd like you all to do is maybe somebody can text the brother in and find out. I'd like to know, did y'all hear anything at all? And if you haven't, please say so, and we will start over because we're going to do this thing just right.
Okay, right now in the chat room I see Kahanya. Could you let us know what's the last thing you heard? Yes, pretty much. Yes, yes, yes. We heard everything.
Okay, thank you. So we were on the air, and I'll just continue.
Continue.
Now, the thing is that this entire show is being recorded and ultimately will be posted on the bulletin board, you see, and you all will be able to hear this at a later time and or at your convenience. However, this story will be told, and everybody's going to know after it's all over. And like I said, you all be the judge of it. Because let me tell you something. If you all knew just how much I've been through to be able to bring you all this, and ultimately how indeed my life has been put on the line and is on the line right now as I speak, I don't think any one of you, in being compassionate, would in any way deny me as I would not deny you. Because I don't care what, we all family. And you can say whatever you want to. Right is right and wrong is wrong too. And, like Baba said, truth is truth. Well, I say something else last night. enough is enough. We're not fools. We are intelligent beings, and we carry very strong senses of compassion. And ultimately, it is ours to do. There is no one else. If anybody thinks that, by some mysterious means, you go to sleep tonight, you say, or snap your finger and you wake up tomorrow and all your problems are going to be gone, that person's not a fool. That person's a damn fool, because it don't work like that. And everybody knows that prophecy is as it is, but that does not mean that prophecy cannot be altered. Just because it says the righteous will prevail does not mean it has to be that way. The only way we prevail is if we make it happen. And that's what this is all about, always has been. And if you don't believe me, check it out. Go back into the record. You'll see it was said many, many times before. Now, I'm going to continue, because what we're talking about is the elders having taken me on a journey that was peppered, littered, and laced with many, many blessings, gifts, and things that cannot be described, that were extraordinary, that I personally experienced. May the Most High be my witness. And let me tell you all something. If indeed an iota of anything that I've said to any of you was, not true, may the Most High take all my blessings in every way and every day. And trust me, my brothers and sisters, I wouldn't curse myself just to kick it with you. I got better sense. You see? Because what has happened to me and what is happening right now is fulfillment of prophecy. And again, you all be the judge of it. Judge the meat tree by the fruit that it bears. And if indeed it bears a fruit that is false, you all be the judge of it. And in that, let it be what it will. But I'm letting you know, the fruit that I bring in no way is false, and it will speak for itself. If you but knew, and if you but let yourselves take the time to hear it, you will know that it's true. Now, I'll continue. Like I said, I spoke to the sister. Her and I, we spoke for quite some time, and the brother never came. I ended up giving her several books and my number. Immediately the next day, she gave me a call and said, brother, I don't know where you got this information, but I need more of this. And I said, I'm happy you called, and I'm happy to hear you said that, sis. Meet me at wherever you want, and I'm on my way. She said, no, but give me your number first. I said, no problem, here. And we met again. She returned what books and tapes I had given her, and ultimately I gave her more. The next thing I know, she was in class, sitting in the front row, taking notes. And this sister then became my wife. Okay? Now, and like I said, I did some things that were not right. I went into that industry with the attempt of bringing her out. You see, I knew that in order to bring her out in some type of way, I couldn't be judgmental, and I would have to go into her world. So I thought, and it was a mistake on my part, and to show her all the things that I saw, to let her be able to see that what she was doing was, number one, not right, and number two, not even profitable. It was an illusion. And that in it all, she was losing the most valuable thing, her soul. So I did. I brought her out. We lived in Nuwapo Gardens. At that time, Baba had purchased an apartment complex for only family members, and those beings who were around at that time, they remember this. It was called Houston Square Apartment. Now, and Baba left it that name because of how, many brothers and sisters who moved in just didn't do with it the right things, and it didn't make sense. And ain't it ironic that it was called Houston, watch this, Square Apartment? Because on the one hand, it was supposed to have been called Nuwapo Gardens. And then it just got left being called Houston Square Apartment. Well, initially, there was only one apartment left, and I got that. There was a long waiting list to be able to get in, because everybody went in cab from all over. I mean, from as far as Detroit, from as far as New York. Everybody wanted to have an apartment in New Apple Garden. When it came knowledge that Baba had purchased an apartment complex, what? Everybody was on it. Trust me. And it came to pass. Now, mind you, this sister was still not a member of the tab. She had put in an application, but it had still yet not been processed. And at this particular time, anybody could live in the Wapple Gardens, but the word came down from the top, which at that time was not called Tamaray, it was called Kadesh. And the word came down that the Wapple Gardens would no longer be, a facility for anyone who were not, involved in a relationship. Baba wanted only married couples to be there. Beings who were, family orientated and ultimately moving and progressively along to establish their family institutions, meaning having children. And at this time, my mate was pregnant. Mind you, still without her application processed. And certain things occurred, let me tell you all, by which some miraculous things took place. Well, let me tell you what it was. At that time, there was a brother, and he knows who he is. His name was Yusef. And I don't care if he's out there listening. I hope he is, because you were out of place, my brother, in so much as that you were moving people away from what would be called the straight and narrow path. I don't care how you say it, it's right. The path that leads to a place by which, only the righteous will be able to enjoy. Why? Because, many of our brothers had got involved in an activity, and sisters, that was illegal in every way. It was bad enough many of us were selling movies, but good Lord, this brother had brothers and sisters going into banks with paper that wasn't cool, taking large amounts of money, and they know who they are. They know they was breaking the rules. And Baba came out and told them all to stop doing what they were doing. And did they listen? No. Well, it came a Wednesday that I went to get my books. And Baba was supposed to come out and speak and never did. And that day it rained. And hundreds of us stood out in the rain and became sopping and soaking wet, waiting on the master to come out, waiting for our book orders to be filled. And I found my way into a vehicle with a brother that I did not know by the name of Yusef. And then him and I started to speak, and I started telling him my ideas about setting up a business, etc. And ultimately, at that particular point, how much money do you need to make it happen? He said, sounds like you might need about $10,000 or $15,000 at a bare minimum. I said, probably a little more. And he said, well, that's no problem. I said, what do you mean? He said, I touch $50,000, $60,000 anytime I may so see it fit. I said, are you serious? I said, well, what are you doing? He said, we'll talk about it. I said, is it legit? He said, we'll talk about it. He said, take down my number. And as a result, I did. I took his number down. And at this particular time, I was hanging out with a light-skinned brother by the name of Marlon. And anybody, y'all know Marlon. I know you do. I know y'all know Bassir from Philly. His brother Kenya. Come on. I know you, and you know me. I'm the little brother who was called Barakat. That's right. I live right next door to Yadillahi. Let me tell you something. And Yadillahi and I, let me tell you something, became very, very good friends. Me not knowing why at that time, because, again, I didn't even know Baba was my father. Not at that time I didn't. But in every way, he's just as much my father as he is Ali's, though I don't carry the last name York. And that's not something, first off, everybody want to claim, lay hold to the name York as if that is such a great thing. Really, when you say, first off, Ben York, you say son of. York. Why? Because York was the name of the slave master. And who was Ben York? Well, they introduced to you Johnson and Johnson. Why? Because both of them, they participated in Johnny Come Home Lately. And both of their sons, why? Because were runaway slaves. And who were their sons? Johnny Walker Black and Johnny Walker Red. And this is all Masonic jargon, high-ranking Masonic jargon that you can find in the Ishtar Files, listen, number 14 and 15. Because those words were well written, and nor were they written of my own hand alone. And you all really do need to wake up and smell the coffee, the tea, the sugar, and the milk, because this is what time it is, my family. The hourglass has long since run out. And if you all can't hear it and see it after these next couple of shows, something is definitely wrong. You need to call yourself Stevie Wonder and or Ray Charles. Why? Because it's going to be raining all over Georgia. A rainy night in Georgia and all over the world. Because, listen, if you don't embrace me, Baba doesn't come home. And why? Because no one will make it to the Father except by way of me. And Baba said, don't believe me, check it out. I say, don't believe me, what can I do about it? But leave and still continue on to do the very best that I can on my own. And let me tell you something, it's destined not to happen because it was never intended for me to do by myself. This thing is bigger than you, bigger than me, bigger than us all. And listen, in no way am I going to quit. But let me tell you something. They're doing everything that they can to stop me right now. And I wouldn't doubt, just like I said, that I won't be with you all too much longer. Why? Because we posted those books out on the net for all eyes to see. That's enough right there. Don't you agree? You know Freemasons don't like that. And there's not been one amongst you who has been able to accomplish the same deed. We took all of the Shriners books. We took all of the Prince Hall books. We took all of the Eastern Star books, mind you, that we weren't supposed to have and or be able to put our hands on, and posted them out on the net for you all to be able to read. That in itself made history. Because never before in the history of Masonry has that ever happened. That in itself was a miracle, fulfillment of prophecy. Don't believe me, go on the net, you'll see it's still there in the blog. And that along with the fact that I talk about the Illuminati and their mama and their God, yeah, they want me dead. But it's cool. I knew the job was dangerous when I took it. I knew the rules. And I'm here doing what it is I must. To do what? To bring Baba home and for us to continue to live eternal. But anyway, let me continue on. Now, so, like I said, I hooked up with the sister, oh, by the way, when I lived in New Wapo Gardens, brother had another brother whose name is Keisha, who lived right up over me. He used to come down to my house. I'd feed him every day. Him, and how did it start? Well, let me tell you, one night I came home, and Yadillahi was standing in the middle of the courtyard, looking depressed. I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? What's wrong? He's like, yo, you won't believe this. I'm like, what's up? He said, here it is. My mate is pregnant, and me and her ain't got nothing to eat. And I done went to all these Negroes' doors, knocking on their doors. They talk about they love my father. They don't love my father. Because they ain't did nothing for me. Talking about they got their own problems, etc. I said, what's wrong, bro? Slow down. What's wrong? You hungry? He like, yeah. I went in my pocket. I had just supplied myself, and I only had $15. I took out the 10 and the 5, and I gave him the 10. He said, no, bro. He said, your wife is pregnant too. I said, no. Come on, bro, eat. He said, what you mean? I'm like, man, order you a pizza. He said, no, I can't do that. I said, no, wait a minute. I went inside, got the phone, ordered the pizza for him. Then told him also to bring a 2-liter and broke the 5 as well. I think it left me with like $3. And every day we would go out to pedal, and I would see the brother looking out the window. And I would see him looking out the window when we would return. Me and the brother Marlon was pedaling at the time, and I went to him and I said, yo, bro, check this out. We're going to put the brother Yad down. He said, nah, nigga. I said, what? All these supplies is mine. Don't tell me what we going to do, because if it wasn't for me, nigga, you wouldn't be eating too. So I don't want to hear it. We going to do this. And the brother's going to be able to make enough money. I'm explaining to him what he needs to do with the money, to save the money so that he can have his own supply. Because ain't no way in the world I'm going to see him and Joy sitting up in that house starving. It's not happening. And let me tell you something. That night, when I fed Yadillahi, he came out after eating and yelled out loud, all you niggas up in here is fake. Let me tell you something. The only real brother in here is Barakat. And if any of y'all mess with him, y'all got to mess with me. And I'm like, yeah, come on, chill out. He's like, no, ain't no chill out. You people in here are phonies and hypocrites, is what Yadillahi said. And then I remember the Nuwapu ball. Okay? I received a phone call from Kadesh and or Tamaray from the office asking me would I attend. I said, well, look, my wife is pregnant. Oh, yeah, before I continue, once Baba had told everybody who, was living in New Apple Gardens that they would have to move if they were not married, at that time, I was still in question because my mate was not, technically a member of the tab. Okay, and what occurred at that particular point is this. Next thing I know, I get a word from Kadesh that Baba say, you ain't got to move. Everybody else got to go. Yeah, but what about Brother Barakat? No, he ain't got to go nowhere. And that sister that's there with him, her application, it hasn't been processed, but I'm sending down the word for it to be processed now. That happened in the same day. Now, I didn't realize why I was getting this type of treatment from Baba at that time, but now I realize full well, because he speaks about it. Continuum, on a continuum, and many, many other things right into my mind, just as clearly as you hear me all right now, I hear him. And I see him moving around in his cell. Everything that he does, that's what the mind meld is all about. Don't believe me? Check it out. Go into the holy tablets and read. All y'all naysayers and haters, because something this divine hasn't happened to you, why can't it be happening to me? Don't get mad. What you need to do is get some sense and start realizing that you too can enjoy the mel if you but knew what to do, which is to embrace me. Because again, no one will make it to the Father except by way of me. And yes, I am Yahshua of 2,000 years ago. I don't care what you say. Or if you don't believe me, I don't care, is what I say. Why? Because that wasn't part of my contract as Protestant to teach you all nothing. My contract merely read that I would have to come down here. And I've already done that. And let me tell y'all something. If I set up right here today, my scale, will reflect on, Yomodin, that I've already earned my place. Now, why? Because I'm simply delivering the message as I was told to do as the angel Gabriel. Don't believe me. Check it out. Because that's what the angel Gabriel is here to do. He comes here blowing a horn of warning. Well, I'm blowing the horn full well. It's called my mouth. And I'm telling you all that time has long since ran out. And if indeed you all don't embrace me, you all are about to die. Listen, one by one by one by one. And what do I mean by that? Because if you was on that land, let me just put it to you this way. They got your number. Trust me. Because when them files got took, every one of them passport photos, was given a look. You see. And they know exactly who you are and have been watching you ever since. If indeed you are a Nuwapian, if indeed you embrace the master, and you did, just like me. So in that, if we ain't got nothing else in common, we got that. That's a fact. Say whatever you want. Because the truth is something that you can't hold back. Can't deny, can't mute it out. Now, Yadillahi and I became very close. Keyshawn used to come down and eat at my house, get on my nerves. He played a flute. Yo, we would go down a little 5-point, come back, and who house he would be at. Joy will tell you, go ask her, Ali, Lord Abba. Go ask them all. You want to tell me you don't know me? Nah, bro. Lord Abba, you ain't never even met the master. You ain't never even sat with him. You ain't never even walked with him, and you want to talk the talk. One thing Ali did say, if you walk with the master, you know how the master walk. Well, I done walked with him plenty. I walk with him every day as he paces up and down his cell right here tonight, listening to me speak and hoping that you all will rise and finally do something right. But that all depends, and we'll see. And that won't stop my pen from moving, nor will it stop Brother Jay. And let me tell y'all something. There is not one of y'all who can stand against this information. Not one. If indeed you can, do your best. Because like I said, we know the rest. The stuff you don't know. Now, if you want to run the chance of risking finding out what the rest of it is, then just keep on being misled by those who don't mean you no good. Because like I said, if the Illuminati offered Ali what they offered me, Ali would have told the Nuwapian nation to kiss his butt a long time ago. Let me tell you something. He'd be up in some hill somewhere in a mansion driving a Lamborghini trying to be real invisible. But no, because right now, I don't have to be doing this. I can be a rich and leave that one out. But I made a choice to save a bunch of people, or to at least do my very best. A bunch of people who act as if they don't even want to be saved, and who will sit back and watch me die and not lift one finger. And it's sad, because you all are supposed to be better than that. What part of the game is that, is what I ask myself. And boy, you all have changed. But here we are today, still family. And whether that is as it is and will be as it will be, I still love you. It's cool. And I'll forgive you, Lord Albert. Let me tell you, even when you come back, which Jay and them don't feel I should do, but I will. Just like I told you, Ali, in a real way. Check this. Me and you will work together one day, but you got to relearn divine respect. Something that you have forgotten all about. And your father, who is my father, would never act that way. Because, why? He knows there's rules to this. In the Native American Indian tribe, let me tell you all something. The elder who is the chief of the tribe speaks first. Then the next elder in line speaks second. And the youth say absolutely nothing unless they are spoken to until their turn comes. And at that particular time, let me tell you all again, unless they have lost their mind and they speak out of turn, they would be exiled, meaning put out in the wilderness, not to die, but to come as close to it as you can possibly, as possible as the chief could make them. And then the elders would go out there and get them and say, yo, you had enough? Now you're going to speak, listen, to your elders, right? Because let me tell you something, if Ali doesn't show divine respect to me just because I'm older than him, then what does that show to our children? And what does that tell them they can do to you? That then becomes a question, which is a real one. And let me tell you something. Ali put the gun right in his mouth and blew his own brains out. When he came up, and the next day, after him and I held that conversation, and he put all on the net to the entire nation that I'm a Tamahu and I'm a this and I'm a this. Why? Because tarnish will tarnish everybody's character who is divine and is sent here to really help you. And don't believe me, weigh it out for yourself. Go back and listen to the tape. It's there. The only reason I didn't answer any of Ali's questions is because of the way he was talking to me with an arrogance. And the word respect, its prefix is re, which means to do again. Its root word is spec. So you can't respect anything until you first spec it. Now you got to find out what the word spec means. Well, spec, if I am a spectator of a basketball game, that means I am the one who is looking on. If I go out and pull down my pants and defecate on the yellow line, I make a spectacle of myself, meaning everybody will look at me. And or if I have some eyeglasses, I can pick them up and call them my spectacles, which are vehicles designed to help me see. So let me tell you all something. Spec means to look at and or to observe. And Ali, in this life, is not as old as me. I don't have to look at him over and over again to know what it is to be 33. But he got to look at me over and over again to know what it is to be 46. And I don't care whether a being is 1 year older than me. That's what needs to be restored amongst us as a tribe. And Baba knew it, and I can prove it, because there was days on the land where Baba stood up and he said, wouldn't it be nice if you all came here every weekend and, to attend class, and after you attend class, you go home with a bag of fresh vegetables? All this land, we need to start planting food. And a sister, Native American Indian elder, stood up and said, well, you give me 20 sisters and 12 brothers, I'll go over there and I'll plant the corn, and I'll plant the this and I'll plant the that. Because certain things you can't plant together, and you got this red clay here, it don't do too much. But we can work with it. Brother, at least, and Baba said, well, no, I'll give you 40 brothers because I don't want the sisters out in the hot sun. He said, I ain't asked you for that. Shut up and sit down. And Baba sat down. Why? Because that was his elder speaking. And then he told us a story about when he was at Ingalls, and elder walked up to him. Him and the brothers was in there shopping. And let me tell you something. The elder walked up and she said, boy, what's your name here? He said, my name is York, ma'am. Say, I know you. My last name is Perham. We've been in these parts for years. Said, get them bags and put it in the car. Baba said, I felt like telling her, but I'm the leader. But he didn't dare open his mouth, which is something you, Ali, still got to learn. And I don't care what you say, Ali. You're wrong. You've been wrong a long time. And let me tell you something. This entire family heard. And nothing you can do can erase that from the record. Nah, too late. That's you. And we all see. So don't get mad. Get a can of get right. Because if you don't, check this out. You'll get a can of get gone. Listen, by your own father who's watching you from a place you know not. Because Baba is very angry at you, young man. And you're about to find out. And Lord Abba, let me tell you something. I beg Baba for your forgiveness. And Baba ain't let up on you yet. And you don't know 5%er who has 5% of the necessary intelligence to be able to hang out. And, you want to tell me, Ali. No, let me tell you, Ali. Here's what time it is. You need more of a foundation under your hat and your respect before you can sit with me. And you want to tell me, you doing your part. How? By going into schools and giving out toys to Nubian children? Yeah, you're not thinking. They're setting you up. Your last name is York. And Dr. York, whether you like it or not, is a known pedophile. And you're going into schools where little children are so that you can be the next child molester if you keep it up. And what do you tell me is more effective against the devil? Handing out, books and toys to children in schools, or pulling down the pornography industry? Even if that wasn't a part of Baba's agenda, if indeed we had a choice in between doing this and doing that, which one do you all think we should do? Which one would be most effective, a most effective blow against the devil? What we at the OSOICE are talking about, or what they are actively doing? Well, you decide. Because I don't care what you say. The movies is in everybody's house. Each and every one of y'all done watched them at one time or another. Don't lie. Tell the truth and shame the devil. And what do? You go to sleep at night, you and your mate with the movie in, it's true, and fall asleep. The children wake up in the morning before you do, and the movie's still in the DVD. And the next thing you know, they press the button and get an eyeful, and them grooves are then incorporated into their little brains, and their lives will never be the same, all because of you and your stupidity. True for true is what Baba say. I, as ATUN-RE, say right is right and wrong is wrong, and tonight I say yet another one. Enough is enough, because it's been too long. Right. Now, brother, go ahead, talk to me. I'm moving on. We're going to talk. Go ahead.
You have 56 minutes left, okay?
Thank you for letting me know.
Okay.
Whatever I don't cover tonight, we'll cover tomorrow. Okay. We're going to keep on doing this until the whole story is told. And boy, do I have a story to tell. Things have occurred to me in this life that most of y'all know nothing about, but you'll know all about it, or at least a good portion of it tonight. Like I said, I went into that industry, and next thing you know, I started working for Black Tales magazine, which I should not have done, which is why I got my butt whipped by the Most High. Everything that I love was taken from me. And as a result, I ended up in a bathtub after my wife and child had been removed with a razor blade and a fist of Hennessy, and said to myself, I don't want to live anymore. I called my lawyer, who was a Native American Indian attorney by the name of Tony Rogers, who was destined to handle Baba's case in this day and time, who the Illuminati killed too. How and why? Because they've been accessing the Akashic records, looking at me and you for a long time. And all of those who can make a difference, they take them out before the time comes. Yes, indeed. Took the sister out. I'm going to tell y'all all about that too. I spoke to Tony Rogers. I spoke to a very good friend of mine in Virginia, who him and I were friends since the 3rd grade in this life. And I spoke to my first cousin who lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. And when I spoke to him, I said, yo, what's happening? I said, what's up with you? I said, man, I'm finna kill myself. He said, nigga, you crazy, and hung up the phone. Then he called back. He said, yo, you serious? I said, yeah. He said, no, nigga, you can't do that. And he started crying. I said, nigga, I love you. He said, tell me what it's all about, man. I said, it's through. It's over. He said, nigga, you crazy. You can't do this. I said, I can, and I will. I'm going to do it right tonight. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to slip my wrist and bleed to death in this bathtub. And he said to me, no, man, you can't. And then all of a sudden, his voice changed. He said, well, okay, before you kill yourself, you just answer one question. I said, what is it? He said, I want to know who Babe Ruth was. I said, nigga, you asking me about a baseball player, and I'm telling you I'm finna kill myself? He said, yeah. After you answer the question you want to kill yourself, go right ahead. And mind you, I was not talking to him. And at that time, I knew it was true, but I didn't know who it was. Well, I answered the question. I went on, I answered it. Yes, I did. I said, well, Babe Ruth was a baseball player. First off, before I answered, the voice asked me, what is it all about? Why do you want to kill yourself? I said, well, I'm tired of failing. I'm tired of having had and lost. But let me tell you all something. It's worse to have never had than to have had and lost. Because a taste of honey is worse than no honey at all. And man, I have been blessed with beautiful things and seen it all come and go, and several times it had reoccurred. I've been through several marriages, children, and oh man, if only I had the time, really the time to tell you. I've experienced the type of pain that I only pray you all never have to experience. Never. And I've lived and survived to tell the story. Either way, I told him, well, I'm tired of failing. He said, well, who is Babe Ruth? I said, Babe Ruth was a baseball player. He said, what was he known for? I said, he was known for because he hit the most home runs in the league. He said, yeah. But let me tell you something, Mark. He was known for something else as well. He had another record. Do you know what it was? I said, no. And the voice said, he had the most strikeouts in the league as well. He said, don't you see it, my brother? Say, you have to taste true failure before you can taste success. And then my cousin spoke, and he said to me, he said, yeah. He said, look at me. I was sleeping behind a dumpster in Hollywood, California not 1 year ago. Now I got a mansion, 2 Benz, and I'm the #1 black, Nubian, rare coin dealer in the world. And everything I learned, who do you think I learned it from? I said, who? He said, you. Watching you. And I'm letting you know what's in you is far greater than what's in me. But you just haven't had your turn. And it's on its way. But if you kill yourself, you'll never see. is what the voice said. And on that note, I got up out the bathtub, put the razor away. And next thing I know, subconsciously, I still wanted to die, but I moved on and, again, involved myself in things I had no business. Yeah, I became a drug addict, Ali. I tried to burn myself up. That's why I'm known as the Phoenix. The Phoenix is a bird, let me tell you something, that burns himself up, and out of his ashes it comes, more powerful than ever. Well, we just got finished dealing with a project called the Phoenix Project, and before long, if you all look up in your skies, you'll be able to see me as I do my thing, fighting on your behalf alchematically. And we just completed the Rainbow Project as well. All you have to do is continue to look at your moon, and when I say we, I'm talking about myself, Baba, and Tehuti. Not Tehuti, Tuhuti, because Tehu was not his name. See, Tehuti then became known as Nebo, who became known as Merlin the Magician, who, if you go on Ali's page, you'll see his friend, the real one, the reincarnate, right here today. Yeah, he has him right on his page, Merlin. Right there, Amorite with his hand up. Yeah, right here tonight, every day. Don't believe me. But I'm going to say it anyway. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Why? Because truth is made to be told, even if it be against thyself. And what you all got to do is master the difference between looking and seeing. Why? Because all things are relevant, meaning pertaining to the matter at hand. That's the truth that is divine. That's the truth that stands, and no one can stand against it. Now, well, like I say, me, Baba, and Tuhuti, who is Thoth, the Atlantean, my grandfather, of whom I am the apprentice. Why? Because I'm the grandson, and he is the God Father, meaning Father of God. What you don't know, because he fathered ATUN-RE. Yeah, you all will find out all about it. The information is going to take you all the way back. Listen, already took you from out of the etheric realm. I'm going to take you all the way back through the land of Nod. Listen, on back to Atlan, on back to Atlantis, back to Atlan, back to the underwater world of Marin. Yeah, things y'all don't know about because there's beings called Lumerians that y'all don't, again. But there's things that are still yet to come. Now, he goes on, and the story, like I said, is as such. I involved myself yet again in things I had no business. Why? Not knowing that I was being taken through a particular type of school. Listen, because you can't help anyone unless you've walked in their moccasins. The Native American Indian master, he said, before I left him, the third master who I sat with, said to me, he said, answer me a question. I said, yeah. He said, if your father was to come into a room and you would sleep, he'd come into an apartment and you would sleep in a room and the door was closed, would you recognize his voice? I said, of course. He said, remember that. And then he went on, right before I left, he said, I want you to picture you on one side of the door and your father on another. You are the outside man. He is the inside man. And when the outside man and the inside man link together, this nation will have everything it needs. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, Baba understands the problems of our people from inside the tab. You have been taken through schools, which nobody else will go through, to understand the problems of our people from outside the tab. Baba can't help a crackhead, but you can. I said, why do you say that? He said, because Baba ain't never been one. Which is the truth. And then when I got out on July 11th, 2002, which was only a couple of months right before May 8th, I didn't even know Baba was in jail or had been locked up. I wrote to Uncle BB, the Native American Indian master, who is the fifth elder on the Cedar Council, and I told him, and he laughed. He said, they have no idea who they done took in. He's going to take that sword and cut that beast from the center out. And he laughed out loud. And I couldn't understand him. And He wrote me back and he said, I had no idea when I told you was an outside man and he was an in, that you'd be going out and he would be going in. But now I see. And the two of you must do your part. And I want you to know, both of you, that I will be watching and seeing everything completely. And this is a Native American Indian master that you all know nothing about, that this is Baba's brother, my uncle. And we call him Uncle BB. Why? Because BB, Baba, same thing. Because the E and the A is interchangeable. Now, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead. Now, like I said, I burned myself up. Next thing I know, they took me to Fulton County Jail. I got locked up. Why? Because my mother-in-law, Kalika's mother, who was a school teacher, put out a warrant for my arrest. And check out what she was charging me with. Stalking. Saying that I'm stalking her. When indeed I was only coming to her residence to see my child that she would not let me see. I said, this is ridiculous. And they put me into a cell. I was so skinny. When you lift up my shirt, you didn't see my ribs, you saw my veins. Because subconsciously, I still wanted to die. And I went on that mission. Well, I laid in that cot, and they brought me plate after plate after plate in a single-man cell. Them trays started to pile up. I never ate the one. Until one day, I'm not knowing that the trustee who's bringing me the food is a Nuwaubian, whose name was Shade Tree. A Nuwaubian you know nothing about, who was divinely sent to me. Why? Because I had burned myself up, and now the elders were sitting me under a shade tree to figure it out. Well, I've been laying with the covers over my head, and the brother one day took the time and looked down, and so it wasn't like Barakat. Oh, my God. And the brother lifted my head up. He said, man, you got to eat. And fed me. Picked me up in his arms. Took me to the shower. I couldn't walk. That's how weak I was. I was dying, y'all. Yeah, in a real way. Took me to the shower. Made me bathe. Brought me back. Made me eat again. And fed me until I could walk. Then, I never seen him again. Let me tell you something. I'm quite resourceful in this life. If I got your name, nigga, I can find you. But I've looked for these beings, each and every one of them. It's like they didn't exist. And I'll continue to tell you what happened. Well, I went from there to another place. They moved me to 100 Rice Street. I went into a bullpen that had so many Nubians in there sleeping on the floor that, I'm sleeping and, crammed in, that there wasn't even no space to sleep. You had brothers sleeping, standing up, leaning against the wall. Things you all don't know nothing about. Things like that, Ali, you ain't never experienced. And I pray you never don't. You never do. Because I don't even wish bad on you or Lord Abba. I still love you both. No matter what you say or do, that'll never change. But anyway, went on. The next thing I know, I found a little space under the bench. I had a first down reversible coat that was white on one side and black on the other. That coat then became my pillow, my cover. And there I slept under a bench in the fetus position for 72 hours. And one morning, I woke. And there was some Muslim brothers sitting in the middle of the floor, and I spoke. And the next thing I know, the entire bullpen listened. Hundreds of men listening to me. Then the officer came and said, it was time for everybody to move upstairs. We got you all a bed. Grab your mattress. And I was too weak to carry mine. And there was a brother who had been listening to me teach, whose name was Nick. Then Cat came and sat down next to me and said, I'll carry it for you, bro. Don't trip. Carried the mattress upstairs, and when we got upstairs, they put us in yet another bullpen, and him and I spoke. He said, my brother, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you what I know. I said, what? He said, do you realize that such great men as Malcolm X and many others have come from behind walls such as these? I said, yeah. He said, you don't realize it, but you the next. And I got eyes to see. I said, no, I'm not, bro. Come on, man. He said, no. There's more about you that I know that you don't have the slightest clue yet. And let me tell you something. Every word I say is true, my brother. You just sit back and remember what I say here tonight. And he then went on to tell me a story about a being whose name was Nicky Bonds, who I know in New York. Well, many of y'all don't know. And they said Nicky Bonds told and went into the witness protection program, and he was called, we all know he was called the Mr. Untouchable. Why? Because he studied law while he was in the penitentiary. And how did he become so rich? Well, he was in a place called Green Haven. And at this place, the place to be was the law library. Why? Because that's where every convict should find themselves if indeed they're trying to go home. And that's how and where you find out what good lawyers are available, because convicts know their life and freedom depend upon it. And this entire nation, every lawyer that you all have gotten, Baba, man, let me tell you something, there's been some side busters. Ain't nobody even heard of them in the penitentiary. Say, well, what's your father's lawyer name? What was his lawyer name? Adrian Patrick. Who the hell is he? Why? Because all you Negroes who still need to grow were spending this nation's money on all the wrong things and didn't have the slightest clue on what you would do and or why, because you were being driven by a force that you know not, called the Illuminati, alchemically, and in a way, in a real way, they had taken full control. And that's why Baba still sits there now. Little do you know. And don't talk to me because I know the law. Don't forget, I went to the penitentiary in 1989 and studied law for 6 years and 4 months. And how many years did I have? They gave me 25 years. I wasn't supposed to come home till 2012. And let me tell you something. I gave back 18 years on a federal habeas corpus against one of the most powerful judges on the Eastern Standard Coast, whose name was Edward Angeletti, Angel, again, a member of the Illuminati, and or Assar Command. Yeah, Edward Angeletti was his name. I signed a written plea agreement where I was supposed to get no less than 4, no more than 7. These fools gave me 25 years. That's the type of number on that, Ali, you would choke. Let me tell you something. There was brothers who would come up in there with 5 or 10 years, lay down on the bunk and start to complain, oh, my girl, the food and this and that. And in a real way, let me tell you this, because this is what I got to say. At least them brothers had light at the end of the tunnel. Well, my light bulb blew out. I didn't know if I ever was coming home, which again was part of the school that the elders took me through so that I could come here today. Not for me, but for you, and be able to help. So you got to embrace me. If you don't, it's over. And I ain't just playing the radio, even though we on one right now. Now, I'll continue to speak. Yeah, let me tell you something. When you go into a state facility, what you have to do is exhaust your state remedies before you can file a 2254B, which is what we got to file for power. And I had already exhausted. I ain't had no more money. I had lawyers, but, doing everything, thinking I was going to go home. And then there came a time where I was eligible to file the 2254B. Don't believe me? Check it out. That's a federal habeas corpus. And all the federal government is interested in is one thing, where your constitutional rights violated. Yes or no? And if you, let me tell you something, you file your habeas corpus, and it goes in, and them crackers, let me tell you what they do. They sit around, and they look through your petition, and what they say is this. They say, wow, this guy, he makes a lot of sense. We're going to give him a hearing on such and such a date. Well, if you get a hearing, my brother, it's time to take all your noodles and tuna fish and feed the whole rec hall. Celebrate. Why? Because you have just, that is a major achievement. Why? Because the feds don't give hearings. And that don't mean you won. That just means you can come in and argue. Well, let me tell you all something, and don't believe me, check it out. It's part of public record. My habeas corpus was done so well, they ruled on the paper. I didn't even have a hearing. They just reversed. And I gave back 18 years to the state of Maryland. Something that is unheard of. Again, fulfillment of prophecy. Why? Because the Illuminati put me in prison. Don't fool yourself, because they knew who I was even before I did. How do you think Jean Dixon predicted my birth? She said a sun god will be born to this planet in February of 1962. She was only off by 1 year and 1 month. Don't believe me? Check it out. That, again, is part of public record. And that's what we're here to do, set the record straight. Don't you know? And yes, I'm me, but you're you. And I'm just I'm just an ordinary guy. Many of you say, yeah, well, I'm a type of ordinary. You want to know what type I am? I'm extra. But I'm still just a grain of sand on a beach, just like Baba. Or ones, Yorkites, under the spell of Yorkism. Like Baba said, he lifted the spell of Leviathan, and you all are still under the spell of Yorkism, in so much that you think that Baba is the only one. Well, he's not. Don't get me wrong. He is God, though. My God. And he created us all. But he is not the only member who sits on the seat of council. He's the 19th elder, who is Yanun. And when you say Ya, you say Oh. And then we say Anun. You're talking about me. You see? Because I and Yanun are one. Take the number 13, add it together with the number 19, and you will get the number 32. You add the number 32 together, you get 3 and 2, which equals 5, which is divine love. That's who we are. And it represents completion, because the number 13 represents the caterpillar turning to the butterfly. It's called the number of self-transformation, or the piece of coal turning to the diamond. The number 14 represents completion. It is the butterfly. It is the diamond. And we're in the 14th cycle. Again, 1 and 4 equals 5, which is divine love. They called it the 5th element in the Bruce Willis movie. Well, again, like I say, Baba is just one elder on the seat of council. There are others, and he told y'all that. He said there's other masters on the planet many times before. And how many of you can lay claim to having sat with them and or know where they at and or know who they are? None of y'all. Want to know why? Because ain't none of y'all ATUN-RE. He was only saying that to me as I sat there and listened to prepare me for what would come. Because while you all thought that the significant ones was right there with him, no. The real ones were somewhere else. Why? Being kept safe. Because let me tell you all something. In the movie Star Wars, the final episode, the Princess Leia is traveling and she has assassins that are there to kill her. And, she's traveling with a handmaiden while she's dressed royally and the handmaiden is dressed down. And then she's killed, and then it's found that indeed she was not the real princess. The real one was the handmaiden, improperly dressed. Well, Yadillahi was that for me. Because Yadillahi gave his life to see to it that I stay alive, because the Illuminati focused on him while Baba took their focus off me. And you may think that, Jacob York did have something to do with it, but he was driven by a force he knew not through a computer software called PAN. Yeah, mind control. Something, y'all don't understand. Because, let me tell you something, what I'm talking about, many can't tiptoe to touch it. One of my thoughts will bust your brain. I've lived more life in this life, in my little toe, than a lot of you all have lived in your whole body. And I've suffered more pain and more pain. And let me tell you something. Pain is the one emotion when experienced. Let me tell you something. If nothing else, it has the way of getting your full attention. If nothing else, it will cause you to focus. And without pain, there's growth. But I only pray that you all don't have to go through the pain that I went through. Let me tell you something. That you all don't feel the same thing I felt, which was like slitting your own throat. And my journey continued. The brother and I spoke. His name was Nick. I went upstairs, and before I know it, it happened real quick. I struggled with my mattress going upstairs in a rec hall where there were men sleeping in a rec hall and all the cell doors was open. It was extremely hot. I was at a place called 100 Rice Street in Atlanta, Georgia. As soon as I got there, I put my mattress down, and there was a lot of Mexicans standing around, and I went into my best Puerto Rican, y mira, oye, ¿qué te pasa? Oye, yeah. And talking, trying to intermix, and have, a little laugh, or, here and there, because I had been through a lot. The next thing I know, I looked over, and there was someone, leaning against the wall, light-skinned brother with a median facial haircut. He said, yo, brother, let me ask you a question. I said, what? He said, you ain't from here, are you? I said, no. He said, where you from? I said, New York. He said, me too. I said, where about? He said, I'm from Harlem. I said, yeah, me too. He said, where? I said, he said, 114th and 8th Avenue. I said, get out of here. He said, yeah, no doubt. I said, yo, you know such and such? He said, yeah, I know them. You know so-and-so? I said, yeah. And we went on in conversation like this, and then after a minute, next thing I know, he turned around and bounced. Went back into the cell, into his own cell, and I followed him. And when I went in there, the brother had his mattress pulled back. He slept on the top bunk, and he was doing some law. And he said to me, I went in, I said, well, yo, what brought you down here? No, he asked me, what brought you down here? I said, well, I came down here to go to school. He said, to study what? I said, comparative religious studies. And then he looked at me. He said, we've been waiting for you a long time. We have a lot of work to do and a little bit of time to do it in. And let me tell you something. I'm not here to massage your comfort zone. I know all about you. You're a little arrogant cuss. And let me tell you something else. I know. I've already told them that you ain't even worthy. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he took and he slid his sleeve up and he showed me an upright crescent, 6-pointed star tattoo on his arm. So at this time, I'm like, whoa, he was in the Ansar community. And he went on to talk, and I'm like, yo, you know this one, you know that? He said, that's not important, nigga, I know you. I'm not here for them. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I told you, we got a lot of work to do and a little bit of time to do it in. And I am the being who has been assigned to you. And they knew exactly what they were doing when they assigned me. I said, why? He said, because I will punch you in your mouth. You little disrespectful punk. I'm like, yo, dog, who is the they you referring to? He said, the Anunnaki, the Natil, whatever you want to call them, I'm one. I said, man, come on. He said, no, I'm not playing with you. He said, because you were supposed to have been ready at a particular time, and you blew. And now we got to compensate. And let me tell you something. I know your station, but they won't tell me who you are. And whoever you are, you must be a real important being. I said, why do you say that? He said, because I done told them that you ain't even worthy. And they're telling me to do my thing. Why? Because they know what I know not. And I know that you're real important because there's a lot of other things they could be focusing their attention on other than you. And he said, now, I'm going to tell you just like this. They knew who they was assigning to you. Why? Because I'm just as intelligent, just as articulative, and just as arrogant and smart as you. And let me tell you something. There's not one little game you can play on me that I have not played before. And I want you to know they've given me permission to break your jaw if you disrespect me in any way. He said, now, I'm going to tell you one time only. Nigga, we got a lot of work to do and a little bit of time to do it in. And he turned around and bounced and left me there with my mouth open. Now, if indeed one word of what I'm saying is not true, may the Most High take all my blessings in every way and every day. And trust me, family, I wouldn't curse myself just to kick it with you. I'm not lying about this. Now, don't get mad, Ali, because something like that ain't never happened to you. Something that divine? Oh, because it didn't happen to you, I guess it couldn't happen to me, huh? Why? Because I'm like your wife said, or your secretary, he's genetic. You're not. I'm saying this sister's out her mind. Went crazy, thinking that the name York is all that in a bag of potato chips. Y'all better research the name, y'all, and understand Baba is ATUN-RE. And in that, figure it out. Because that's what time it is. We live in a specific time frame. Want to know what it's called, y'all? End time. Which each and every one of us are going to have to live through in order to get to the beginning of time again. And again, if you don't embrace me, we are through as a nation. And you know what dies with me? Alchemy. Because don't none of y'all know it. And it's your inheritance. You can learn from me if you but let yourselves, because I'm willing to show you everything that Tahuti has shown me. Why? Because it's time. The choice is yours. Don't throw away something so plain. And don't let them kill me. Because the choice I made was not to let them kill you. And I stand by that right here today. And yeah, I don't think I got too much longer, y'all. So that's why I'm telling you everything now before it's too late. I'm going to tell it all to you. And I'm not going to stutter, and I'm going to take my time. And no, I ain't going to take not one phone call until I'm ready. And then when I do, I'm going to tell you, Lord Abba, you too, Ali, if you come to this radio show mess, we won't have you. Because you're not going to turn OSOICE Radio into a boxing match and or a boxing ring. We don't need it, man. Enough is enough. Because in a real way, you can't stand against us. Because Baba stands on our side. Everyone knows merely by reading the information. Baba set it up that way. A lot of the books that was written, many of them, was written in a way by which certain things would be revealed in this day and time. And a lot of those books I ain't never even read. But it just so happens Jay has all of them. Many more than you would ever know, Lord Abba, because you only read a couple. And Baba said that it would be beings like you, beings who read a couple of books and then declare themselves authority in right knowledge. Well, let me tell you something. Right knowledge at this particular point, check this out, is old. And Baba told you that if something isn't constantly changing, it's not alive. And we are alive. We're not dead. So in this, we have to constantly change too. Just because Baba's gone, that don't mean nothing. It's time to change the name of the AO. And tell the truth, we're not Egyptian, we're Tamarayan. Figure it out. And figure this out too. Like I said, a lot of that information was written to set things up for the time frame we're in right now. Well, let me tell you something. We're going to give you a new information. The OSOICE. ATUN-RE, that's right. And we know it's going to be called right now knowledge. Where if it don't pertain to things that's going on right now, get it out my face. Because whether we lived 2,000 years ago don't matter. Baba's in prison. And let me tell y'all something. If indeed I'm right, check this out. And you all don't embrace me, look where we lose. And the question is it that, how valuable is it to you? If I'm wrong, so be it. That means somebody else can do it. And as long as they come home, it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't matter to you. And yours is an obligation as a Nuwapian, as a nation, to investigate everything. What do I got to do? How much does one being have to do? I got to die for y'all to know? Well, that's about to occur. Yeah, they coming, y'all, and they coming. Well, how do I know? Because I'm an alchemist. I can access the record. I plan to do it in open court for everybody to see. Because all those secrets that the Masonic communities hold, I'm going to expose to the entire world right in open court. And I'm going to show them what they did to Baba and what they did to me. This court trial between me and Lakeisha Lewis is step one. This divorce proceeding will be used as a springboard to put the entire Masonic community on trial and to show them what really happened. And in this, we will set the record straight, and there is nobody else can do this, and nor will we miss, because failure is not our name. We will succeed, y'all, because you all will rise. After having heard me speak, When I finish, let me tell you something. You all will never be the same. And let me tell you something. You can't ignore this. This ain't the one you can run from. This information will embed itself into your subconscious mind and rise even when you don't want to think about it. When you don't want to think about it, confirmative flags will fly from the fabric of your very universe. Don't believe me. Just continue to live, and you'll see. Which won't be much longer unless you embrace me, because I'm here for you. That's right. I come to the lost tribe of the house of Israel. Now, and yeah, you're right. Israel, that name holds a story. Because let me tell you something. Is in reference to Isis. Ra is in reference to the sun. And El is in reference to the Most High. It wasn't never supposed to be called that because there was a woman that perpetrated a lie. And ultimately saw to it that her child got the inheritance. It came from her husband by putting fur on his shoulders, and because the husband could not see. And, the other son, his name is Esau, when the father touched that son, thought it was he. You'll find that information in a book called Women Who Changed the Course of History. Why? Because she was driven by the ether of Ishtar. You see? Now, we can go on, but we're going to continue with the story. Here we go. Now, as this being here, this elder, whose name I'm not going to mention at this time, but I will mention later. Why? Because he's the only one who asked me not to mention his name, and I got respect for him, much love for him. In fact, I grew to love him so that when they took me from him, or took him from me, I cried, real tears. With him, I earned 3 rules and learned many things. He showed me the power that belongs to us by turning himself invisible. What do I mean? Well, I got a visit from the attorney whose name is Tony Rogers, and like I said, she was Native American Indian, and me and her were friends. And she would come to see me, and I went to see her and went on a visit, and there was one way out and one way in. When I came back, I was excited. I wanted to tell the brother. So I went looking for him, and I went from cell to cell to cell. Yo, you seen the brother? And then he was just over there. I went over there. You seen the brother? No, he's not over here. And the place ain't but that big. One way in, one way out. And I went all over and didn't see this brother nowhere. I got so frustrated, I went to the cops. I said, yo, officer, let me ask you a question. Did so-and-so go on a visit? He said, no. I said, did he leave? Did he go home? He said, no. I said, where is this cat? And right then, I got frustrated. And then I heard laughter at my back. I turned around, he was standing right there. And I'm like, yo, where you been? He said, yo, I was invisible. I asked for permission to show you what we can do. And while I stood here and chanted certain chants, you saw me not, and nor did they. And he said, in all these things, I'm here to teach you, or reteach you, should I say. I said, man, get out of here, you bugging. He said, no, I'm not. Do it look like I'm playing with you? He said, next time you say I'm bugging, I'm going to punch you in your mouth. You think it's a joke? Like I told you, I'm not that one. So I shut up. And then there came a day where he retaught me about respect. There was an elder who was sleeping on the bunk right beneath me. Sleeping on the bunk over me. Might have been late 50s, and I think at the time I was only 33. And this being stepped on my pillow, and I lost my mind. Yo, nigga, check this out, man. You could have got on the bunk from the other end. I gotta rest my head right there. And the brother turned to me and said, yo, man, come here. He said, man, I used to be so compassionate. You done turned into a beast. So I don't even know you no more. He said, nigga, yo, what happened to compassion? Where are you? Who are you? Look at you. You should be ashamed. I said, man, that nigga stepped on my pillow. He should show me a little bit more respect. He said, yo, that nigga don't got to respect you. He's your elder. I said, yeah, he do. He said, no, he don't. I said, yeah, he do. He said, man, let me tell you something. Your elders do not have to respect you. You have to respect your elders. I said, what do you mean? I said, you give respect where respect is due. He said, no, stupid. He said, I said, because if he's my elder, then that means he got to earn my respect. Anybody who don't earn my respect, I ain't respecting them. He said, no, you got it backwards, bro. It don't work like that. I said, what do you mean? He said, first I'll find out what the word respect means. He said, how old is you? I said, 33. He said, how old do you think that brother is? I said, about 59. He said, who got to look at who over and over again? You or him? Do he got to look at you over and over again to know what it is to be 33? I said, no. He said, do you have to look at him over and over again to know what it is to be 59? I said, yeah. He said, well, he don't got to respect you because that's what the word respect means. And the whole time, if you go back to that tape, you will see that I was trying to tell Ali right then. And each time, I got cut off from giving him a divine information that has to be restored in our nation if indeed we're going to win and or survive eternally. Because this has got to be relearned amongst our children. Something that they all have now forgotten, which is why they carry the types of mouths that they do in your homes. Hey, Troy, get your butt over here and sit down. I ain't got to sit down. What are you talking about? I'm finna go out. Nigga, I will slap you in your mouth. No, you won't. I'll call the police. Is what you hear in our house these days. Tell the truth and shame the devil. How many of y'all know? I do. I know the play. So do you. Why? Because we're all Nubians. And this is what we go through all over the place. And somebody's got to care, man. I don't care what you say. You got to realize that, yeah, you know, and look at it like this. We got a little apartment, and it's messed up. It's called the planet, you know. It's filth from wall to wall. And there's so many of you, and the filth has piled up so high that you think that there's nothing we can do. So what you all do is step over the dirt, turn your eye to it, hold your nose, and go to your proverbial corner and sit down. Well, it's time to pick up the dustpan of integrity, to pick up the broom of decency, and the vacuum cleaner of compassion once again. And realize that we are all people of color got. Without us, they got nothing. And let me tell y'all something. Right now, without me, y'all ain't got nothing neither. Because I'm your link to Baba. Me and Brother Jay at this moment. But let me tell you something. Brother Jay can't even get Baba out because his universe and or living, history is not set up that way. He doesn't have documents that are part of public record that can be accessed with names and they can prove certain things. And nor does, that's not Jay's position. He's Kansu. I'm ATUN-RE. And let me tell you something. If any one of y'all want to be me, no problem. That means you got to suffer too. He want to claim to being, Horus, then that means his mother's a whore. Because that's what Horus means, whore son. Don't believe me, check it out. And my mother, in every way, was just that. And no, I'm not calling his mother a whore because, let me tell you something, she's probably a decent human being. And I would not want anyone to have to sit in this seat because it's not easy. It's a lot of pain involved. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. No real leader wants to be a leader, y'all. No real leader. And I didn't ask for this. And let me ask you all a question. Does the leader stand out front or does the leader stand in the back? And listen, what you don't know is the leader stands way in the back. As the caravan moves, his portion of the caravan is at the tail end so that he can see all the people in front of him and know that they're safe. And the captain of the ship goes down last. Well, and the highest nail that sticks up is the one that gets hit first. So that's why they finna kill me, y'all. And it's real. It's not a joke. They finna take my life. Ali ain't got to worry about that. Wanna know why? Because he's not a threat to them. He's not a threat to anything that's white. Trust me. Because Maryland is on his team. And that alchemy Maryland's doing, I'm fighting with this cat every night. Let me tell you something. Me and Baba done locked him up. And I done used the eye of Rashua El. Baba done used the six-pointed star. And Tahuti done used, check this out, the jihad symbol. Yeah, you can't kill that energy. You can only trap it. Cause it to sit still. And when you get it to sit still in the heavens, then you can get something done down here. It's been almost virtually impossible just for us to bring this information to you. How much more time we got, Malik? Are you there? Malik, are you there? I want to know how much time we have. Well, and maybe you hear me. I don't know. Malik, are you there? If not, we'll figure it out. I'll call him on the other line. Let me see. Maybe we can get him. Hold on and we'll see. We're family, y'all. This is informal. This is not a formal forum. We're going to talk like we in the living room. Every time I come on. Because that's how family do. You don't know?
Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, how much time we got?
You have a little under 10 minutes, okay?
10 minutes?
Yeah, a little under 10 minutes.
Okay. Now, the rest of the story is significant. It will be told. And check this out, and I will tell it full well, but I ain't going to be rushed and I ain't going to be bothered. I done went through too much hell. And I dare anyone talk to me with a disrespect after I done put my life on the line for you. But yeah, that's what Negroes will do, Because they ain't niggas yet. You see? Why? Because now the man has become like me. Like one of us. Now. Meaning he knows respect, divine respect completely. He don't need to grow. Because he done went through the pain. He done went through the trial and tribulation. Let me tell you something, y'all. No one can have triumph unless you've experienced tribulation. And as equal as your tribulation is as great as your triumph will be. And let me tell you something. Ali, you ain't lived that type of adversity, young man. Where's your scars? What penitentiary you done been to? Let us all see. Pull your papers out, Negro. I'll pull mine. Let's show and prove. Ain't that what the 5%ers say? You see? And let me tell you something. All that crap that Lord I was posting out on the net about me, he ain't no more, no less than, let me tell y'all this. Just like the 5%ers we used to debate with in Times Square. Every time we go out to get the children's money, they be there trying to stop the righteous from doing what it is they got to do. I ain't never once said nothing bad about that brother. Never. Not once. And everybody knows in this nation we are not an offensive group. We stand with a defensive posture, meaning I ain't going to mess with you until you mess with me. But if you mess with me, you got to be prepared to dance because I'm going to defend myself to the fullest. And trust me, your arms ain't long enough to box with God. You can't box with me. You don't have the necessary intelligence. If you did, you would have never started this crap in the first place. And everybody can see if they got any sense. And that's why those OSOICE ain't going to entertain it no more. Because if I continue to entertain it, what does that make me? A damn fool for, entertaining you, who's a bigger one. And that's it, that's all. But yeah, this story's going to be told, and nobody ain't going to come in. Not in this forum. Not in this forum. This belongs to the OSOICE. Get your own. Say whatever you want to, because the OSOICE is going to say what they want to. Oh, so nice. And oh, so right, too. Say whatever you want. But just leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone, and I'll show you love. Still, you my brother. Why? Because you Nubian just like me. And we got the same problems. You got beautiful children, man. I ain't got nothing against. I ain't got nothing against you. I ain't got nothing against Ali. I ain't got nothing against none of y'all. And in a real way, check this out. If you was in the same position I am, I'd be sending whatever I could right today. Wanna know why? Because that's the right thing to do. To keep you alive and to keep you from getting hurt. I would never wish that on no one. And that should tell you all just who they are, because indeed, if they were any part of the righteous, they would be able to see that without being told. Don't you think so? I don't care what. I don't care what. Why? Because life is the most precious thing, and it should be maintained and preserved at no matter what cause. And there is no bigger sacrifice, and there is no greater cause than the right to keep living. That's our cause, y'all. Me and y'all. And if you don't got something to die for, Negroes, let me tell you something, you ain't got nothing to live for. And the greatest cause, like I said, is to continue to live forever, you and your children. And for all of us to live together. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. All we got to do is use the one that's already proven true to work for, with, and by each other. Because that's why ain't nothing going on. That's why you don't got a new Tamarade. That's why you don't got nothing. Because you don't want to come together. You see, under one roof. Get back to basics. See? And no, Baba's not going to tell you that from the penitentiary, especially the Supermax, nor is he going to lead you all right to me for the federal government to follow you and make it even easier to, blow me and Brother Jay's brains out. You think so? Because if he did, then that means my blood would be on his hands. And all y'all know Baba's better than that. He would never do that. That's why he wrote the things that he said. I am not Maku. I am this. I'm that. I am not the chief Black Ego. I am not the leader of the Nuwapian nation. I'm only AEO. Why? Because the lieutenant of the entire facility was standing right over him. And because all you Negroes want to write up in there with that Nuwapian, them police were reading them letters thinking that you was writing up in there with some type of code, and they took Baba's commissary and visit behind that. For 6 months. He barely got his commissary back, but his writing privileges were suspended. And y'all really think he's going to sit, man? Y'all must think our father is stupid. And the only reason y'all talk like that is because ain't not one of y'all ever been there. Y'all don't know nothing about that stuff. So take it from somebody that knows. That's why I went to every type of penitentiary. Do y'all realize I slept in the exact same bed at Atlanta Federal Penitentiary a year before Baba did? The bed that they put him in was the exact same cell, exact same everything. Yeah, and I'll tell y'all all about that tomorrow night. Look, I love you all. I don't care if we got 5 minutes or 10. I'm tired now. I'm getting old. And you want to know something else? This entire thing has wore me down. Wore Brother Jay down, too. We put in 18, 20-hour days. I don't care what y'all say. You can't serve 2 masters. Because if you serve the one, you cheat the other. And let me tell you something. Me and Brother Jay are servants of the Most High. That's what we do. 24 hours. And it's nonstop. And yeah, we tired. But y'all should be tired too. Tired of doing nothing but sitting around running your mouth about things y'all don't know. And tired of not showing your elders respect. And tired of not getting it done when we have such a great job to do. And let me tell y'all something. Again, I'm not going to let any phone calls through until I tell it all. And once I tell it all, then I'll let the phone calls in and y'all can say whatever you want. But if every one of y'all come to this forum with an offensive posture, you will be cut off. We're not going to deal with that anymore. It's not going to be tolerated. And all of our people, whoever we deal with, is going to act with a particular type of decency and or respect. And in this, we'll get it done. Because there's only one thing that's going to make Baba come home. And that's our love. Listen. Not just for him, but for each other. And with that, I say, Hota.
Okay, Hota, brother. And I want to thank the family for joining us again for another dynamic presentation. We intend to continue on Saturday at the same time, 9:30 p.m., where the brother will be addressing the nation again, telling his story and how it ties into Baba's case and his eventual release from incarceration. So tune in again tomorrow. Tentative time is 9:30 p.m. And we will be posting that time when we have confirmed everything. Okay, family. Thank you again. And to all listeners, peace, hotep, shalom, assalamu alaikum.
When you come to Carrabba's Italian Grill on a Monday, you're going to say,
wow, a 3-course meal for only $12.99?
On Amore Monday, get Carrabba's delicious made-from-scratch entrees, including super salad and your choice of an appetizer or dessert.
That's a huge meal for only $12.99. Wow.
Choose Carrabba's homemade lasagna, prosciutto wrapped pork tenderloin, or linguine positano with chicken, plus 2 other courses.
Wow, now I love Mondays.
Come to Carrabba's this Amore Monday for a delicious 3-course meal starting at only $12.99.
Carrabba's. Wow.